Welcome to Obscure Origins. I'm John, and here we talk about the untalked about, and we start to know the unknown. And today we are talking about The Creeper, written by Steve Ditko and Don Siegel for DC Showcase number 73. And when I mean Steve Ditko, I mean that Steve Ditko. And I'll just say this now, I love The Creeper. I just love him. So, if you may, and please let me, take you on this trip of absolute insanity. So quickly, while there's still time, to The Creeper! Pre-crisis, Jack Ryder is a former Gotham City resident and host of a political talk show. He is fired after criticizing his own sponsors on air and refusing to change his behavior or apologize. Knowing Ryder is a decent detective, Chief of Network Security Bill Brain hires the former talk show host as one of his investigators. Brain reveals that CIA contacts have asked him to help find Dr. Yats, a scientist captured by local gangster Angel Devlin, who was working with communist powers. There's a lot of Cold War references in pre-crisis Creeper and Ditko's disdain for liberals. They get rid of all that in later bits for obvious reasons. Ryder decides to infiltrate a masquerade party at Devlin's mansion and visits a local costume shop. The clerk explains he mainly sells costumes for children, but offers Ryder leftovers from adult orders. Ryder cobbles together the costume involving yellow tights, green trunks, red gloves and boots. He completes the disguise with yellow makeup, a green wig, and a red fur-like carpet he decides to use as a cape. At the costume party, Ryder fights some of Devlin's henchmen, suffering injuries in the process, and then discovers the kidnapped Dr. Yats. The scientist injects Ryder with a chemical serum designed to accelerate healing, while also granting, great strength and stamina. He also hides a tiny device of his own creation in Ryder's wound, saying it is the safest way to keep the technology hidden from Devlin. The device, he explains, can rearrange the molecular structure of matter, making clothing or items weightless and invisible until needed. By activating the device, now hidden beneath his skin, Ryder is able to make his costume vanish or reappear instantly. As Yats then destroys the evidence of his work, Devlin's men arrive and shoot him dead. In costume, Ryder escapes Devlin's party, but is blamed for the chaos. Police arrive, and one of the cops refers to the yellow-costumed intruder as a creeper. Deciding he likes the name, Ryder later attacks and defeats Devlin's gang. He then reverts to a civilian guise and informs Brain and the police of Devlin's involvement in Yats's death. Ryder then decides to continue secretly operating as the Creeper whenever he needs to fight crime. In his private life, he continues acting as Wham TV network security investigator for Brain. A month later, after his first becoming the Creeper, Ryder is assigned to help Wham TV weather correspondent Vera Sweet, who has been threatened. The two initially dislike each other, but over time they develop a flirtatious relationship. Ooh la la. Although the Creeper fights crime, he is frequently considered a villain himself by news media and authorities. Screw him. During his first adventure involving a costumed villain, a man called the Terror, Ryder realizes that Yats' implemented device has two side effects. When he is the Creeper, it prevents his costume and makeup from being removed from his body, and when he is Ryder, his superhuman powers become dormant, leaving him vulnerable. During his early adventures, the Creeper regularly fights a shape-shifting terrorist named Protus. At one point, Protus reveals that he is motivated by being overwhelmed by how corrupt he finds society. He had hoped to find a friend in Jack Ryder and had spared his life before, but then concluded his roommate and friend is actually an enemy after learning he is secretly the Creeper. While attempting another attack on the society, Protus seemingly kills himself, and the Creeper muses whether he has lost both an enemy and a friend. Following this, the Creeper continues operating in Gotham City as Ryder became a television reporter for Wham TV. He winds up teaming with other superheroes, often most frequently aiding Batman. During an encounter with the Joker, the Creeper is rendered temporarily amnesiac and is tricked into helping plant a bomb. Only realizing the truth at the last moment, he then brings the Joker to justice, not as the Creeper, but as Jack Ryder. And I do apologize if I sound a wee bit off. I'm bunged up with a cold. I will say I don't really like pre-crisis Jack Ryder. I love the fact that it was created. I just I'm not getting political. I'm not getting political in this. But you know what? Let's move on to after Crisis on Infinite Earths. And a quick summary: Crisis on Infinite Earths, again, it just means when everything got rebooted, essentially. When everything changed, when everything started getting difficult to memorize, and ugh. But you know what? Let's go see what the future has in store for the Creeper. Come on, insanity awaits us. Come on, baby. Huh. That didn't change. Right, no budget. This is new. But you know what? If it works for the Creeper, it can work for me. Oh, you can change. And my trousers changed. Whoa. Post-crisis revision. Following Crisis on Infinite Earths, much of DC Comics history is revised. Jack Ryder is reimagined as a newspaper journalist working for the Herald Examiner and known for exposing corrupt criminal operations. Investigating the home of criminals during a masquerade party, he is ambushed and knocked out. The criminals knew he intended to investigate them and decided to humiliate him before taking revenge. They drug him with a hallucinogen, and one said to cause psychosis if he used too strong a dose. They dress him up in a yellow and red costume with a green wig and present him at the masquerade party as a jester called the Dancing Creep. I don't know what kind of jesters they've been looking at, but it's... Whoa. Drugged and confused, Ryder attempts to escape, but is severely beaten. He is then taken some distance away, shot, and left for dead. Just one of those days, huh? Ryder awakens in the home of Emil Yatz, a German immigrant and scientist who discovers him near his estate. Yatz explains he used experimental inorganic matter transference technology to heal and revive Ryder. Yatz explains he was rejected by the scientific community and became a science fiction writer before finding a sponsor. He created a device that can map an atomic structure of inorganic objects and swap them with others, rendering one temporarily invisible and intangible. Yatz realized his criminal sponsors intended to kill him soon, and when he found Ryder, he decided to hide his device inside the man's body, attaching the power source activated device now in Ryder's forearm, under his skin, healing the man. After destroying his scientific notes, Yatz explained that the device's subatomic matrix has been imprinted with Ryder's costume, since he was wearing it when the scientist attached the power source. Now realizing Ryder also had a drug in his system, Yatz warns the drug may have been imprinted as well, meaning Ryder will once again be in a drug-induced state if he activates the device. The criminals arrive and murder Yatz before the scientist can say more. Touching his forearm, Ryder activates his costume, the chaotic Creeper, bringing the criminals to justice with the physically enhanced abilities and healing. He later wakes up at his typewriter, having no real memory of his activities as the Creeper, but knowing his alter ego will be effective as a weapon against crime. Don't you just love that type of story? I love a good one with a happy ending, don't you, children? No? Oh, you're boring then. Let's talk about his powers and abilities, shall we? Pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths. Creeper's powers are physical in nature as a result of Dr. Yatz's discoveries. Jack Ryder transforms himself into the Creeper by holding and pressing a button of a small device activator, which he often keeps inside his pocket. This activates another device hidden underneath his skin that would rearrange molecules, immediately replacing Ryder's clothes with the Creeper's costume, yellow makeup, green wig, red fur-like cape. This also activates a chemical Yatz injected inside Ryder, thus granting him enhanced strength, stamina, durability, speed, agility, reflexes, healing, and senses. When he activated his costume as well as forcing it to disappear, these abilities became dormant in his Creeper form. These abilities became dormant. In his Creeper form, he is capable of scaling buildings or walls via acrobatics. His post-crisis powers. This version of the Creeper has the same capabilities as before, but he owes them all to one device rather than two. When Jack first became the Creeper, he is under the influence of drugs. As a result, each time he transforms, not only does it restore Ryder's powers, it also puts the drugs back into his system, making him all loopy. And it gives him another personality. Due to being killed. And it's basically all the same powers, except due to being killed and dismembered via eclipsed hyenas, meaning hyena is powered by a supervillain called Eclipso. The creature eventually resurrects himself from death. During that revelation, he can stun or inflict pain upon others with his laugh, as well as frighten them. Ryder is able to also recall some memories of his alter ego. Wow. That was certainly something. But you know what? Hopefully, I can find a way to get this off, and then we can wrap up. Okay? Okay. Come on, you. Come on! Get off me! Ah! Whew! Quite a struggle. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Obscure Origins. I know I certainly did. And honestly, I cannot wait to do this once again. I love talking about comic books, but more specifically, comic book characters that are just so obscure that you don't know if they're real. So, join me next time, if there is a next time, on more Obscure Origins. But seriously, see you folks, and be good people.
Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those peepers?